What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, remove RDA from the equation temporarily.
Yep.
Insert Dan Hooker, Mr. International, who's going to be all over the place, pretty much everywhere except for New Zealand, possibly until the end of the year.
Right.
He's going to be taking on Islam Makhachev in a fight that was supposed to happen a while back.
Yeah.
There is no more striker versus grappler affair that you could make besides Dan Hooker versus Islam Makhachev. This one's in Abu Dhabi. He's got the deck stacked against him. He's coming off a big win. And this is why I love Dan Hooker. He's down to fight, and I just love him for that.
Yeah, and, some people thought his stock might have gone down after losing. And, with Michael Chandler coming in on his debut and getting caught in the first round, it just didn't look good. And people were like, oh, no, now where's Hooker going to go? He was right there. He just made it into the top 5. Seems like a legit contender up here. And then, it moves down. He's fighting on the the prelims of a big card, but still the prelims. It's like, man, it was a big fall for Dan Hooker. Everybody kind of felt for him. I definitely did. And then he goes and does something like this. Yeah. Says, give me Islam Makhachev. Without a doubt, the most difficult fight, at least on paper, and as far as the boys in the back, opinion, the most difficult fight in the UFC right now. That's not for a title. I'd say maybe people are more afraid of Usman, but Islam Makhachev is straight up a boogeyman. And I think that Dan Hooker taking this is awesome. I think the UFC should reward him. They should break out the checkbook, give him a whole new fighter pay, give him a new contract, whatever they need to do. He's going to be missing potentially Christmas and the rest of the holidays with his family. And it's just a baller move. He's one of these guys that's living in the moment. He understands that the deck's stacked against him right now. But if he could pull this off, he's jumping. I would give him an immediate title shot after the dust settles at 155 if he can get a win.
Oh, if he beats Islam Makhachev, there's no question.
You
got to put Dan the Man in there for a title. There is no other fighter at 155, maybe even in the entire UFC, who is in the top 10, who would fly in on a Thursday, weigh in on a Friday to fight on the prelims on Saturday against an unranked fighter, and then turn around and accept a fight against the consensus toughest guy in the division, who on paper has all the attributes to defeat you. Dan is truly the man. He is absolutely doing something that I truly believe no one else at 55 would do. And on top of that, with the restrictions of New Zealand entering the country, exiting the country, going to be several months away from his family, you can't do anything but respect the guy. Yeah. That said, this is a tall task. Yeah. Islam Makhachev is among the toughest people in the UFC right now, possibly the best all-around grappler when you factor stand-up, trips, sweeps, and submissions in the entire organization. And although Dan showed some good wrestling in his last outing just a couple of weeks ago, we certainly know he's not going to have the grappling advantage here. How do you see this fight playing out?
I'm not going to count Dan out because this is, crazy things happen. And when you do awesome things for the world sometimes does awesome things back for you, right? They call it karma, right? Or what goes around comes around. So he's putting a bunch of awesome energy into the world, and who knows, he might get, awesome energy sent back in his direction. But it's got to go through Dagestan. It's got to go through Islam Makhachev. And he just has such a hard style to beat. He has such a bulletproof style. Khabib said it, and you were telling me the other day how he thinks that over the next decade or so, the sport is truly going to evolve into a more grappling-heavy sport because it's just so overpowering. Yeah. And anybody that's not a heavyweight or a light heavyweight or maybe 185 that can't just crack with one punch knockout power is going to need to be an elite grappler because you can't just rely on, punches and bunches and peppering people. If you can't put somebody to sleep with one single shot and they can get a hold of you and when you get on the ground you're in trouble, well, then, percentage-wise, it is going to become a grappling-heavy game. And I think Dan Hooker he has a good chance with his unorthodox striking style to present some issues for Islam. But it is going to be only a matter of time before Islam gets him to the ground. If he gets a hold of one of those long limbs. Being tall is a great thing for sports, for striking. But being tall is also a bad thing when you're going against somebody who knows how to wrestle and might have a lower center of gravity like Islam Makhachev will have against Dan Hooker. And I just feel like the deck is stacked against him, but this is an awesome move for him, and I'm not going to count him out. And I think that, the odds makers should realize that he can, put the lights out on Islam. Islam has been finished, unlike Khabib. And a really good striker can get the job done on somebody like Islam, but it's a very tough task.
Yeah, a lot of people think that basically the 155 belt at the moment is just being kept warm, and it's going to be sort of a round robin passing and changing of the guards until Islam Makhachev takes his rightful place on the throne of 155. I'm kind of that mindset. I believe Islam Makhachev is the best fighter that can weigh 155 pounds on a scale the night before the fight in the world.
Yeah.
I think he's complete. I do agree with what Khabib said. When you see guys like Khamzat Chimaev and you see guys like Islam, and we saw what Khabib just did with his career, when you have someone who just has overbearing grappling skills and can take you down, and then also what a lot of the American style wrestlers missed all those years was the submission ability, and then you add the submission ability to that takedown top pressure, you're playing with fire, and that's a truly lethal combination. And so I do kind of subscribe to that I think guys like Islam Makhachev who possess that skill set are going to be extremely hard to contend with, and there's going to be more of them now that Khabib owns his own promotion out of Russia, and you're going to see people coming from there. We're going to see what happens with Khamzat Chimaev in a matter of a few weeks as well. I think that this is just the right time for Makhachev.
Yeah.
I think that he's going to get past Dan. I think Dan did show some real improvements in his grappling and in his wrestling, even landing some takedowns of his own, which I was surprised to see.
Yeah.
But this is a whole nother level. This is the big leagues. Islam Makhachev, I believe, is a better striker than Khabib. His only danger in this fight is if he believes that he's a better striker than Dan Hooker, because he's not. And if he tries to stand too much with Dan, as you said, that long, lanky, creative city kickboxing style could present some problems. But I believe Islam Makhachev is going to be well prepared with the teaching of Khabib and Javier Mendez. He's going to execute his game plan, close the distance, take him down, wear him out, strangle, rinse and repeat.
Yeah, if I'm Islam Makhachev, I'm walking across the cage just like Michael Chandler did, putting Hooker on his heels, making him fight moving backwards, because there's less power when you're moving backwards in your strikes. And I would try to get the job done, get him to the ground early, rinse and repeat a couple of times, so his striking is less of a problem later in the fight if it goes that far. And if I'm Hooker, I'm watching, I'm being cautious, I'm throwing things in his face to make him think and make him want to shoot, and then I'm looking for one of those crazy knees that he knows how to throw.
Yeah.
He's really good at timing knees and throwing knees, not even jumping knees really, which he's good at too, but he'll just throw a knee instead of a kick. And that's really dangerous for a wrestler. Somebody that changes levels and moves forward at a very fast pace can get caught, and their own momentum can knock them out if they go meet basically the toughest part of a human's body, which is the knee. It's like a big boulder down there. So I think Dan Hooker needs to game plan for something like that. It's going to be hard. There's less ways for him to win than there are for Islam, and Islam has more of a foolproof game plan that he's going to be able to implement. But it's going to be a great fight. If I was the UFC, I would give so much credit and love to Dan Hooker. Maybe he's looking to buy a house out here. Maybe they should just buy him a house. Get him a house near the UFC PI, a place for him to bring his family. They can all start training, or wherever they bring city kickboxing in America. I'm hoping they bring it to Texas, but who knows? And then let Dan Hooker be the guy that you call at 155 if you need a short notice fight. And also another thing, Dan Hooker is proving to the world that you don't just have to win fights to move up in stock and move up in the fans' minds and the appeal of the sport. I think after doing a gangster move like that, if Dan Hooker winds up in the opportunity to potentially get a fight with Nate Diaz, to potentially get a fight with Conor McGregor, Jorge Masvidal, Nick Diaz, one of those types of guys, they're all going to say yes because they saw the gangster move. He's just fully thrown himself into the BMF pile of fighters.
Question,
we always say we're adding to the pile, and there's some guys that make some gangster calls and gangster moves. Dan Hooker was already a gangster, and now he's a for sure contender for the BMF title.
Oh yeah, this move here puts him on the list for the BMF contenders, no doubt about that. If that belt ever was to be recontested, and what a great match! Just as a side note, him versus Jorge Masvidal would be.
I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think that would be really fun. And what you mentioned is very true. When a wrestler shoots in, just much like Ben Askren and Jorge Masvidal, that knee is there. You can really put somebody to sleep with it. So look for Islam to implement a lot of body locks, a lot of trips. He's very good at takedowns from a high position on his opponent. He's not one that has to drop to his knees and shoot a double leg or shoot a single leg. He can do that, and if the circumstances call for that, he will do that. But Islam, what makes him so deadly are his judo style trips, that sotogari, that uchimata, all of those things that kind of get overlooked a lot in MMA. He's excellent at implementing those hip throws, inside leg trips, outside leg trips, body lock takedowns. All of that can get your opponent to the ground effectively without having to drop to your knees, which I think is going to be a big, big factor here.
Yeah, for some inspiration, he'll probably start watching some of Valentina Shevchenko's highlights, because that's her favorite way to take people down. Get a hold of you, get double unders, and then take you for a ride. And he obviously knows how to do all that stuff. He was born doing it, but Dan Hooker just needs to watch out.
He could do it to a bear if he had to.
Exactly. Dan Hooker just needs to watch out for that. He's always going to be a winner in my book after making this awesome move. And I just love watching him fight. So I can't wait to see this one happen. Hopefully he can get home quickly after the fight, because he's doing such a favor for us. His home country should do a favor for him. And I'd love to see it. But, man, I'm super excited for this.
And, hey, if the UFC, if he misses Christmas, the UFC needs to cut the man a Christmas bonus check, for God's sake.
Absolutely. A fat one.
Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Let us know in the comments, how do you think this fight's gonna go between Islam Makhachev and Dan Hooker? Gotta respect Dan for stepping in here last notice. We always appreciate your feedback and your comments. We love chatting with you guys there, so keep them coming. And until the next video, guys, have a wonderful day.
Peace.